Utah has topped the charts for the past 17 years. Joining me now live is Jonathan Williams, the Chief Economist and EVP of Policy for American Legislative Exchange Council. Jonathan, thanks for being with me.
Well, it's a pleasure to join you, and congratulations to you and the people of Utah for this incredible recognition 17 years in a row now at number one.
Thank you so much. So what does this mean for Utah to have the best economic outlook for the future?
Well, in our Rich States, Poor States report, we look at the public policies that all 50 states have in place, such as taxes and regulation and labor policy, things that we know matter for future economic growth and for population growth and in-migration as Americans continue to vote with their feet away from high-tax states, and look at states like Utah that have a competitive way of doing business. They have low taxes. They have a good lifestyle, a good wellness factor. And it's an incredible magnet. When we find states do well in Rich States, Poor States, we find that economic growth and population changes are close behind. And of course, this has been the track record of Utah at number one for all 17 editions of Rich States, Poor States because of a commitment year in, year out of making Utah a great place to work and live and raise a family. And of course, the proof is in the pudding, as we like to say. Utah was the fastest growing state in America over the last decade, and we don't see that slowing down anytime soon.
That was my next question. Any other signs that you're seeing or any surprising changes in the report over the past few years?
Well, I think you have a good number of states towards the top of the ranking that look to Utah as the pace setter and are looking to catch up to number one, just as you do in professional sports leagues all across the country. All eyes are on the leader. And this is why I think you see states like Idaho and Arizona, for instance, in the West, making really good strides to become more competitive and reduce the burden of taxation and regulation on their citizens because they realize it's working in Utah. They can see it firsthand. They see the growth that's happening, and they're trying to emulate so much of the success and that commitment to free markets and limited government that you've seen from your leaders in Utah for many years.
So are there any spots where we could do a little bit better, maybe make it easier for businesses?
Well, of course, there's always room for improvement. It's a little bit harder to improve when you're at number one and you do so many things right. But when you look at things like I know there's been a big commitment by legislative leaders such as President Adams and Speaker Schultz and the governor to continue to reduce income taxes. But one of the keys to, I think, success has been looking at Texas and Florida and Tennessee and so many of the states that can go without a personal income tax altogether, looking to make Utah more competitive, begin to chip down those rates as you've been doing. That's an important point for investment for the future to keep Utah ahead of the curve.
Jonathan, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me.
Well, thanks so much for having me.